around this kind of behavior, except it's in a world of nuclear weapons, so it's no joke at all. It's absolutely tragic.
For Sax, well, we run out of time, so I just want to thank you again for taking the time to come, and we hope to see you again.
Absolutely, pleasure to be with both of you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Testing. We're going to begin at exactly 10 o'clock. We're going to begin. Okay, good people, you're welcome to this very special live stream. And this live stream is coming to you at the end of the month. Today is Friday, March 31st. So this is the end of the month. And so it's a very special end of the month. And so it's a very special live stream. And I just want to, first of all, wish all of you a very happy weekend. It's a special weekend because it's a weekend and a month end. So accept special greetings from CCTCF. And our team tonight, I will be presenting as usual, and we will have two segments of this program. The first segment will be tips, 30 minutes of tips to people who want to order products from China. That will be the first part of the program. And in the second part of the program, we're going to present a special product for you. We always have a special product, that kind of product that makes you feel like, okay, I want to have a product in my home right now. So we always have that special surprise for you, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But for those of you who are joining the show, be assured we are going to bring you a very, very special item in the of the show. So if you're just joining, share the link to all of your friends, people who don't know about CCTCF. This is the leading platform where you can outsource your products from China. China is considered to be the factory of the world. And in all countries of the world, you hear people looking for ways to buy products from China. So we at CCTCF, we have taken upon ourselves to put on this platform and to enable you wherever you are to be able to order your products from China. And we have a team of outsourcing agents, and we are there for you 24/7. We are always listening to you, taking your orders, processing your orders, and making sure that you get exactly what you want at the best price and that you get the best quality, because that's what we do. So then on this program, what we try to do, we try to give you tips. We try to give you tips on how to order products from China, and we always bring you tips that we try to give you tips on how to order products from China, and we always bring you tips that you may not know. Some people have never bought anything from China. Some people are planning to order something from China, but they don't know how to begin. They don't know who to contact. They don't know what's the first thing to do, and so on. And a lot of people are scared because, for example, the language barrier is there. You can't speak the language. So you're thinking, how can I even begin to talk to suppliers in China? So in the first section of this program, we're going to give you some tips, some good advice for those who want to order from China. And um, tonight's tips are going to focus mostly on people who are buying from China for the first time. The first time I can see we have people joining the live stream. You're welcome. You're welcome on board. And as you join, share the link so that many of your friends can also join. And then if you miss the show, tell your friends. If they miss this show, the recorded version is available, and you can still watch it even at your own convenience when we are no longer live online. So what I was saying is tonight we will be focusing on those who have never ever ordered anything from China. So these are like newbie people who only hear that people buy things from China, but they don't know how to begin. They don't even know who to contact and what to begin running the show. And yeah, I know in Cameroon right now it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. People are very busy on a Friday like this. People are busy. People are trying to settle into their weekend plans. So many people at 3 o'clock in Cameroon may not have the time to really join the show. But here in China, from where I am broadcasting, here in China, it's 10 p.m. 10 p.m. So it's pretty late and people are just about to go to bed. So that's the time difference. But without wasting any more time, I'm going to go into the tips. And before I go into the tips, I want to remind you that in the second part of this show, we will be bringing you a special product tips. And before I go into the tips, I want to remind you that in the second part of this show, we will be bringing you a special product which is available in our warehouse now. And if you want to order that product, just be patient, and right after all the tips that we're going to give you, so currency. We're going to talk about currency because if you're doing international trade, if you want to buy from another country, one of the first things you should think about is the currency. What currency are you trading in? This is a very important thing. So, to those who have never bought things from China, you may not even know what kind of currency China uses. So, the Chinese currency is called the yuan. I'm going to write it down in the chat box so that you can see yuan. It is also referred to as RMB. So, the yuan is the currency that is used here in China. And this currency is not just it's not just one of those local currencies. It's a very powerful currency, and actually it's becoming more and more international. If you go to some places in Europe, you can easily buy something just using the yuan. You don't even have to change it into the local currency there. If you go to Paris, for example, if you go into a shop in Paris and buy something and pay using just the yuan, because it's a very it's recognized. It's recognized. It's not as popular as the U. It's recognized. It's recognized. It's not as popular as the US dollar. It's not as popular as the euro, but this is a currency that has a very bright future. And you must have heard about an organized currency that has a very bright future. And you must have heard about an organization called the BRICS. It's like emerging economies, like China, India, South Africa, these countries coming together. And this currency is a currency that has a very bright future. So if you don't know about this currency, you need to do some research and start learning about the yuan, because if you want to trade with China, if you want to buy things from China, it is very important for you to understand the yuan and the exchange rate vis-a-vis your own local currency. So let's say you're in Cameroon and you want to buy things from China. The first thing you want to ask yourself is, okay, in China they use yuan. In Cameroon, it's the CFA franc. So what's the exchange rate between the yuan and the CFA? Why is this important? It is important so that when you have a sum of money that you want to use to buy goods from China, in your mind, don't just look at the sum of money you have. If you're in Cameroon and you have 1 million francs, you should not just say, oh, I have 1 million francs. So probably it looks like a lot of money to you, 1 million francs, but you should be thinking, what is 1 million francs in yuan? What is 1 million francs in yuan? If you do that conversion, then you see that the in yuan, it's not 1 million. In yuan, it's very, very little money. So that begins to prepare your mind psychologically. You may have 1 million francs in Cameroon, which is money that you've been saving for maybe 2 years, right? And when you finally get this 1 million, your whole dream is like, wow, this is 1 million CFA francs. You are not going to order a whole lot of things from China. Your 1 million CFA francs is going to buy a few things, 1 or 2 things, and then the rest of it is going to disappear in shipping cost. So you basically don't really have a lot of money. So this is why it is important to think in this way, because we have had at CCTCF, we have had customers who come to us and say like, oh, I have this big order that I want you guys to handle for me. And so I gather my team of CCTCF agents and I say, hey, we have a big order coming from Cameroon. So let's be ready. Let's make some space. And then finally, the person from Cameroon shows up and says, so this is what I want to buy. My budget is 500,000 francs. 500,000 francs. Okay. When we take 500,000 francs and we convert to yuan, it's really, really, really very little money and can buy very few things, like I said before. And even if it can buy a few things that can fill, say, a small box, let's say you are buying very simple things, very basic things like clothes, some t-shirts, some clothes. If you can buy these things and fill maybe a small carton, the money for you to send that carton from China to Cameroon, you still need a lot of money. So it is always important to know, to try to convert what you have into the currency you're going to trade in. And the second thing is that sometimes the people want to know. Yes, you're welcome to the show. Just share the link so that more people can join. Another thing is that sometimes people will ask us like, oh, I want to see the price of the product in China. Okay, I want to see the price of the product in China. So let's say you're asking about the price of let's say sports shoes, okay, like sneakers. So I can go find the price. The price is probably 30 yuan. If I say that the sneakers cost 30 yuan, okay. The buyer in Cameroon who doesn't know the exchange rate between the yuan and the CFA franc is thinking, oh, 30 yuan, 30 yuan, I see 30 yuan. So in his mind, he is thinking, yeah, I know the yuan is more powerful than the CFA franc, but 30 yuan, I think it means in Cameroon it will be maybe something like I don't know, like 30 francs or they're thinking it's quite small, you know. But when you tell them like, look, this 30 yuan is actually 3,000 in CFA francs. Then it becomes like a shock to them, like, what? I see that it's 30 yuan, but in CFA francs it's 3,000. That's 3,000 francs. So it is important to understand this so that even if the outsourcing agent can show you the prices in China, you will be able to use your calculator and then see whether if you really buy this product, you will be able to make a gain. So for the example I was just using, you will say, okay, if I'm buying this thing in China at 3,000, then I'm going to spend maybe 1,500 on shipping cost. So by the time this pair of sneakers gets to Douala, the cost, what I have spent on it will be like 4,500, right? And then I have to claim it from Douala and then transport it to my shop. Okay, that's going to add the cost. Maybe now it's about 5,000. And then I have to pay taxes, I have to pay electricity bill, I have to pay water bill, I have to pay water bill. I probably have to pay my shop assistant. You have a shop assistant who is helping you. So you have to pay that shop assistant, and then you have to pay yourself, right? As a business person, remember you need to pay yourself. You need your own profit. Okay, when you add up all that, do you see the cost of the pair of sneakers that you bought in China at three? Good calculation. You cannot do um, good accounting on the products you want to buy from China if you don't know the exchange rate between the CFA and the UN. So that's why I prepared this to be my first tip. So if you are planning to buy goods from China, it's a very good thing to to check out how much money you have, how much is it in UN, what is the cost of the product, and what gain are you really going to make. That currency exchange rate. This is my app that I use. You can see on my app, you have the US dollar, you have the CFA franc, you have the British pound, then you have the Chinese yuan, and then you have the euros, because these are like the 5 currencies that I trade in most of the time. Most of the business that I do, either I'm shipping to America, shipping to Europe, shipping to Cameroon, so these 5 currencies, but there are more. There are more currencies. You can add more currencies if you're in another country. So, but I recommend this app. It's called Currency Converter. You just search from your app store and you find, you can see the name there, Currency Converter, and you can install it on your phone. It's a very good app. So you need one of those apps. Don't just have only a calculator. You need one of these apps on your phone, so that if you have your money and you're planning to order, you need to do some calculation based on. So don't just think on the fact that, oh, I have 1 million, so I think I have a lot of money. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to buy a whole bunch of things. So that is my first tip for tonight: the exchange rate. And remember that sometimes the exchange rate can rise and it can fall. So by the time you send your money to China, maybe the currency is falling or the yuan is rising. You have to always check that. And the best way to check that is to use the internet, or to use this kind of currency applications. That is the way to keep yourself up to date, to know what is the current exchange rate. And when it comes to paying your agent, paying the outsourcing agent like us at CCTCF, that is also something very important. Very important. So that was tip number 1. That was tip number 1. And then tip number 2 is also connected to money. Now that we have talked about the money, the currency that is used in China, and now you know how to calculate how much money you have. But then comes another question. How do you get the money to China? How do you get the money to China? It's not like we say, okay, let me send it to your MTN money, let me send it to your Orange money, let me Momo you, and so on. But your Momo is not going to work in China. Your MTN is not going to work in China. Your Orange is not going to work in China. So how do you get this money to China? Let's say you're working with us. For us at CCTCF, we have a little advantage. The advantage is that CCTCF is based. The advantage is that CCTCF is based in Yaoundé, Cameroon, and also based in Shanghai, China. So sometimes handling this money is it's a little easier for us, because if you transfer money to CCTCF Yaoundé, maybe somehow the money can be used to do other transactions, and then we can use money from CCTCF in Shanghai to purchase your goods and send, and then we will do the checks and balances in-house. So that's a little advantage. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people come to engage us at CCTCF to outsource products for them, because when it comes to moving money, it's not easy. And what I said, at CCTCF, we enjoy a little advantage that we can move money back and forth, but because it's little money, it's actually little money. if you have to deal with huge sums of money, if you are having an order in China that will involve like tens of millions, well, there we will not be able to help you. You will have to go through the other methods that I'm going to explain. So you can have the money there in Cameroon, and you have made the decision that you want to buy from China and sell. But how do you get the money to the seller in China? Okay. So there are a couple of, if you look at suppliers in China, there are a variety of suppliers, right? There are some suppliers that will tell you that they can accept payments via PayPal. If many of you know what is PayPal. PayPal is an international payment gateway. Can help you move money, pay for bills online, and so some suppliers will tell you they can accept PayPal. Okay, which is true. I have dealt with suppliers who accept PayPal, but the problem is, do you have a PayPal account? In Africa, most people just a personal PayPal account. It is not a merchant's PayPal account. At PayPal, for you to move huge sums of money for business, you need a PayPal business account, a merchant's account. Then you can move huge sums of money to buy things. If you have only a personal account, they will tell you you cannot even move $1,000. And then you will find out many of these payment apps like PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, Remit, and so on. This kind of international payment apps, they may not recognize the local currency you have, like the CFA. The CFA franc has this disadvantage that CFA franc is not recognized. CFA into euros or convert into dollars, and then you can do your transaction, which makes it really difficult for some people. If you have a bank account in Cameroon, I know some people. If you have a bank account in Cameroon, another way is you can deposit your money in the bank and then ask your bank. And there are very few banks in Cameroon that actually can transfer money to a Chinese bank. I know of a bank like Afriland First Bank without publicity, but I think they can make that kind of a transfer. So if you don't have a bank account, it's a problem. If you have a bank account but your bank cannot transfer money to China, it's another problem. So what else? Some people will tell you you can transfer money by Western Union. Okay, Western Union improved a lot because you have Western Union online now. You have the Western Union app with which you can actually transfer money. But think about the charges. Sometimes the charges, like I was saying in the first tip, if you have a very small amount of capital and then you're going to send by Western Union, the charges alone that will be deducted maybe will really reduce your amount of money when it finally gets to the supplier in China. So you have to calculate all that. How much will the charges cost and so on. So most methods of payment that could help you move the money, there will be one or two things that become an obstacle. Either the app does not recognize the CFA francs, or the app recognizes the CFA franc, but there's another condition you need to fulfill, or your supplier in China tells you, no, I only have this payment method. In China, you have Alipay, you have WeChat Pay, but these are limited to people who are living in China. So that is why many people prefer to come to CCTCF and say, can you just do it for us? Because CCTCF, we have we have bank accounts here in China, and it's easy for us to effect payments to suppliers. So it's a kind of obstacle too. Imagine somebody trying to buy from China and you don't really know how to get the money to the supplier, and not all suppliers will even people who run into this problem, and that is the more reason why we set up CCTCF to be the intermediary to help you sort out this kind of situations. So if you have your money and you don't know how to get your money to the supplier, one way to do that is engage CCTCF outsourcing agents. And if we are handling your transaction, of course, we will do everything to make sure that your money is moved to the supplier without any problem. There are some people who use a method called swap. There's a method called swap, which is quite popular. What is swap? Swap simply means that um, you are in Cameroon and you want to send money to China to buy something, and swap basically means you send news to people in China and say, "Hey guys, do you have anyone in China who wants to send money to Cameroon? If you have somebody in China who wants to send money to Cameroon, okay, connect this person with me so that we can kind of swap. So since I want to send money to China and he wants to send money to Cameroon, so I can give money to the person in Cameroon, and then he can give his money in China to my supplier in China." So this is a very complicated process, but some people manage to do that. Some people manage to do that. They call it swap. Well, you can see for yourself that to do that, you need to be super lucky. You need to be super lucky to find someone at the other end who wanted to send money home, and then the money has to be like the same amount for you guys to do the balancing. That is not easy. That does not come around every day. So ask yourself, can you do business like this? You cannot do business based on the fact that every time you have to go swap with someone. So what I recommend is either you get a registered company, an established agency like CCTCF to handle it for you, or if your money is, if you travel to China, you can handle this thing more easily, because let's say you have a deal that is like 100 million. Why waste your time trying to use payment apps and so on? If you if you are in a deal that involves like 100 million, come on, get on a flight and just fly. It is easy for you to change your money. You can then change your money um, at the airport. You can go to the bank, or you can actually change your money in your country of origin buy US dollars, and then just put your money in the suitcase and fly to China. So um, that probably can 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 be easier if the money is really huge. It will be better than doing that. Another way is using the credit card, but the credit card also has restrictions because many credit cards, um, some credit cards may not recognize local banks. So if if your credit card is quite international and can affect payments, fine. That's also another good way. My my goal here is just to say that before you plan your business, before you plan on how to order your goods from China, US dollars. Why? Because maybe they have very good connections with the bank, and they know that if they take the US dollars from you, they can easily, exchange at the bank. Or they have other businesses. Maybe they have other businesses which are international, and so they know if they take the US dollars, they can actually do checks and balances by moving the US dollars to those other businesses. So it's always good to ask. It's good to ask if you are going to buy from someone. It's good to ask before time. Don't just carry your US dollars or carry your euros and just fly to China and say, oh, anyway, the US dollar is the most popular currency in the world. So, yes, I can just go. Oh, anyway, the US dollar is the most popular currency in the world. So, yes, I can just go and buy it. No, no. So, that was the third tip. And we have seen 3 tips tonight. And the 3 tips are all based on money. The first tip was you should do business with China. Try to know more about the Chinese currency, which is the yuan, renminbi. RMB means renminbi. The second tip was you should think about how to move your money. How are you going to move your money to pay the supplier? The person you want to buy the things from, how are you going to pay that person? What is your payment method? What is the channel? What is the payment gateway? You should think about that. And I told you one shortcut is get an outsourcing agency, get a consulting firm like CCTCF, which is a trading consulting firm, and we will do it for you. And you will have less stress. And then the third tip, which was also based on money, was whether you can buy. Actually, it was a question, not a tip. I'm just answering a question that one of our followers asked on Twitter. Can you use the US dollar to buy something in China? I answered the question. The answer is yes and no. It depends on what you're buying, the volume of the business, and what kind of store you're buying from. So with that, we come to the end of the first segment of our show. The first segment is based our show The first segment is based on special tips for those who want to do business with China. And so we are going to have the second segment, and the second segment is very special. I promise you that, and I'm going to deliver. In the second part of this show, we are going to be looking at our special product for tonight. So I'm going to give 2 minutes to see if anybody can guess what that special product is going to be. Now I think I can give you a hint. It's an electrical device. It's an electrical device. So it's something that people would like to use. So it can be very useful at home. And another tip, if you know the answer, just type in the chat box so I will know whether you're good at guessing. Another tip, if you have an event, if you have a party, like a birthday party, or you have some occasion, this device would be very, very useful. I think I just gave you a killer tip. That hint can actually lead you to guess what it is. No answers coming. No answers coming. It's not very big. It's quite small. It's quite small, and you can even put it in your handbag. But most of the time, when it's at home, we just put it on the table. Sometimes we put it on the shelf. Any guesses coming? No. Someone said it's an electric pot. No way. No. Okay, right. I think you're not able to guess this. So here is our very, very special product for tonight. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. This is the product. I told you it's long. It pulls the cork up. That's all. So one button is to make the screw go into the cork very deep into the cork, and then something that you need brute force, like I know ladies who have bought wine and couldn't have the wine. The problem is you only have to do this product install. You just need to send CCTCF.com wine. So now, okay, after you finish, this was the first thing that you used to the wooden cork. It's always good to put it back. You don't lose it, so that if you're going to put this on, you are sure that now at the other end here, it's important to see at the other end here, you see 2 locks. One lock is open, one lock is closed. Why? Because here actually you can open, and this is where we have the batteries. I'll show you. Here we go. So here you can see it runs with 4 batteries. And these are actually our very normal batteries. These are not like very special batteries. So just to be sure. 1.5 volts. Yeah, you can see 1.5 volts. So a normal battery, 1.5 volts. So it's not like some very special battery that you need to go look for, you know, in some special shop. These are just normal batteries that you can get from any normal store. You need 4 of them. You need 4 of them. You can see, you need 4 of them. When you have them, make sure that you put them correctly. You can see, notice that here we have positive, positive, and negative, negative. Because if you don't put them correctly, of course, the batteries, and then you make sure that when you close, you have to make sure it closes. You turn around until it fits. You look where you have the lock. Remember, you had 2 locks here. So you go back there and you just turn. You turn until it goes in. Okay, see, there's a small mark. There's a small white mark there. When the small white mark comes, just okay, good. When the small white mark comes in, then you just turn. See, like the small white mark has to come where you have the lock open. This one, where you have the open lock, that's where the small white mark comes in. Then when you push in, then you turn so that the white mark now stands on the lock that is locked. Then you know that it's firmly secure. It's firmly secure. So then you have your device, and actually, it has a it has when you buy it, it doesn't come like this. It comes in it's packaged in another small box, small carton. So usually, if you buy it, it will not just they will not just send it to you like this. It will come in another box, and in that box you have a manual. You have a small manual that can repeat all the explanation of the things that I have been trying to do in this show. So this is a very useful device, and this device is good for go to an occasion. You know, if you are hosting an occasion at home, maybe a birthday party for your children or something that people will come around, and you don't want people struggling with bottle of wine, struggling with bottle of wine. Sometimes I have even seen people who are struggling to open a bottle of wine in such a way that finally they just lose it. Maybe the cork gets broken into small pieces and then ruins the wine. Oh God, it's a mess. It's just a mess because the the manual corkscrew is not good enough, so it destroys the cork, and then maybe the cork was not made of good wood, so finally the whole wine is messed up. So it's good to use something professional like this. If you have an event, imagine if you have an event, there are people there in your home, and the servant just goes around with this, right? Do you need me to open your bottle of wine? You just go there, it's on. You go there. Do you need me to open your bottle of wine? You just go there. It's on. You go there. It's cool. You don't need to have some strong guy going around and doing that, not pulling the bottle, doing that, pulling. No. Just carry this, and even a grandma can open a bottle of wine with this. Even a grandma can open a bottle of wine. So this is something to have at home. You definitely need this at home. You need this for your occasions. And then if you actually have a bar, if you even run a bar, you are like a bartender, you need one of this or two of them, so you can easily open a bottle of wine and so on. So it's one of those useful things that it doesn't cost much. It doesn't cost much. If you Once you send us the inquiry, we will send you the price. And actually, it has several varieties. This one is the most common variety, but there are other varieties. So for those who are interested in buying this product, email, and we will send you the full quotation with the different varieties. They have different varieties that have different capacities. So we'll send you the list and the prices. But this is something that you can actually. Oh, I forgot to mention that if you have a wine shop, if you have a wine shop, this is something to sell in your wine shop. You know what I mean? If you have a wine shop, people who are coming to your shop to buy wine, propose this to them, and you'll be surprised. Most of them buying wine, they don't know about this device, and so this is a good thing you can you can also sell in your wine shop. So I have seen a wine shop here downtown. I've seen a wine shop where they give you this for free if you buy a certain number of like if you buy wine to a certain amount, they give you this as a gift. So because they know any person who is very interested in wine will definitely be interested in this device too. So that was the killer product I prepared for you tonight. And every time we have a live stream, I will bring just one product, but it will be a product that will wow you and will make you feel like you need it. So, if I doc, you just need, we can send it by plane, we can send it by bus, we can send it by ship, we can send it. We have connections with all the means of transport. So, it just depends where you are. If you're here in China, we can just send you one tomorrow morning. If you're in Cameroon, we can send it to you by flight. We can send it to you by sea. And so, yeah, that is how we are going to wrap up our show for tonight. It was actually very interesting show. I like what I shared with you, and I'm waiting for your reactions as usual. Send your reactions to contact@cctcf.com. You can follow our Twitter handle. We always post new products there every morning. And some people, if you just want to take part in if you want to take part in discussing products that have just arrived, or get inside information to know when we will get the new arrivals, and so you can look. Another thing you can do is to join our WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp business group, and that WhatsApp business group is very active. You can go there anytime and ask a question about a particular product you want, or maybe you have ordered some products and you want to track their whereabouts. There will be somebody to answer you. And camera, maybe that's what you should be doing. For those who are more, those who spend more time on Twitter, well, you know our Twitter handle, CCTCF Official. You can ask questions there. We always answer them. You can write an email to us, and we promise We always do our best to answer your questions because we want everybody to feel comfortable in trading. We want everybody to feel comfortable in trading. Trading is not as easy as people think. International trade is quite difficult. You need a lot of things to organize before you can get into international trade. Nevertheless, if you have a little money, you can start little and you will grow big very, very fast. So if you have been dreaming about international trade, we are your partners. Come to CCTCF, tell us your problem, and we will make you grow. We will give you the right, we will point you to the right direction, give you the right advice, and you will soon become an international trading tycoon. With that, I'm going to leave you because it's Friday night and many of you still want to go have fun. I wish you a very, very exciting weekend and a happy new month of April. Tomorrow is a special day. Don't be fooled. It's April Fool's Day. Tomorrow, don't be fooled. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we come to the end of our live streaming show. Watch out for our show next week. Bye bye. Goodbye from our team here at CCTCF.